Hey, I'm Neil, head of product engineering here at Pallet. I've always been working in roles that are pretty close to the customer, product oriented. I like to dig into customer problems, sort of understand, feel their pain, so to speak, and then try to marry that with technical solutions that can actually help them improve their lives. That sort of automation and efficiency has been kind of the core of what I've been interested in throughout my career.
So, what's a fun fact about yourself?
A fun fact about myself, I started out after college in journalism, working at magazines, newspapers, essentially doing reporting and data journalism. And that's kind of where I developed a passion for coding and writing code and building things that would affect people's lives. And from there, I transitioned into software engineering, product design, just tech in general.
Nice, awesome. So, what made you attracted or want to join the Pallet team?
When it came to joining Pallet, I think there were two things that were really interesting to me. The first is just the domain. Logistics is super complex, super interesting. Rarely do you find a simple use case or a simple problem to solve. It's also not maybe the sexiest industry because a lot of the work is done behind closed doors, even though it affects us every day, every package we receive. And I think the nuances of that just drew me to the industry at large. I think the other thing is, like, in my prior experiences, one thing I've learned about myself is I feel very confident in my ability to build products, to write code, to ship things. I think I've been less experienced or less open to doing the other parts of building a business, like sales, marketing, those types of things. And I found that Pallet had really strong leadership in those areas and people that I could learn from and grow from while I got to sort of hone my craft when it came to building a product.
Nice, lovely. So, what are some of the tough technical challenges that you and the team are working on right now?
I think maybe one of the harder things about building agents is simply what some refer to as context or context engineering. I think over the course of time, agents, they learn things, or they're meant to. At least a good agent will be good at not asking the same question to a human twice. So how do you give them access to all of these learnings, all of these memories over time, but the right ones at the right time? If you accrue thousands, potentially tens of thousands of these, it's obviously a very tough problem to make sure that you are only supplying the LLMs with the information it needs to get the job done right, and not giving it, information that could confuse it or cause it to hallucinate. So that's been a really tough challenge for us, is figuring out how to build infrastructure to do that automatically without having to manually do any work to set up new customers. I think from a personal perspective, spends a lot of time thinking about and iterating on is how to keep state. So when an agent does something or it completes a task, how do you ensure that it can use the output of that to inform how it handles the next step in the workflow? Doing that in a scalable way and ensuring that you allow for interruptions when the agent needs to pause to ask a human for help, or when the agent needs to reach out to an external source that might take many minutes and then resume its workflow. But having that state be preserved is really important and not as easy as one might think when you're operating thousands, millions of agents concurrently. So one of the common use cases that we handle for our customers is taking documents that are related to an order, a shipment, essentially extracting information, doing some reasoning on it, and then doing data entry or sending them to other systems so that they have their system of record knows about this order. And one of the things we see all the time is that a single PDF, for instance, can have dozens of orders as part of it. So the challenge of classifying the pages within that PDF, breaking it apart, processing each of these orders individually, sending the requests or using a browser to actually create the order, and then finally going back to the original PDF, breaking it down into different PDFs for each of the orders and uploading each of them to the resulting orders. This is a common workflow that tons of logistics companies have to do every single day, many times a day. And building an agent that can intelligently do this manage state as it takes a single PDF, breaks it down, has a bunch of parallel concurrent workflows to process each of those orders individually, and then sort of fanning back into a single output is a pretty tough challenge. So that's really where managing state and having context so that each of those orders, the agent is only pulling the information, the memories that it needs for that specific order, that specific customer, is really important.
How would you describe when working with the engineers here at Pallet?
We gravitate towards engineers that are just naturally ambitious, who are naturally very curious. I think we're very open about the fact that we aren't trying to build a $1 billion company. We are trying to build a $100 billion company, which is just at its core a very daunting task at that. And I think folks that see that and are not afraid but excited by that opportunity tend to thrive here, because it's not, something that you can just roll out of bed and do. It's something that requires a lot of intention and urgency and really dedication to want to achieve a goal that ambitious. So those are, some of the things that we tend to see in engineers that do well at Pallet.
That you're excited about for Pallet in the next few months?
We have a rapidly growing pipeline of customers who have a variety of use cases and complexities in the way that they want to use Pallet to automate their workflows, and everything from needing browsers to having to make phone calls. These are pretty much greenfield areas that we are exploring and building on, that I think I'm really excited to actually get to ship something that can accomplish all of these things while taking these customers live.
Nice, awesome. And then anything else you'd like to add, or any wrap-up comments as well?
No, I think Pallet is a great place to work if you are ambitious, if you want to build something that is both complex but also used by tons of people every single day and essential to the way that the economy operates, essentially, and the way that goods are moved across not just the continent but also the world. I think there is a unique opportunity there for engineers that most companies aren't tackling, that you can get here at Pallet.